Hi, I'm home-based travel business expert Dean Marino. I got a question for you today. What do you think is the greatest motivator for most people? Is it money? Is it fame? Is it family? Is it just pure survival? Well, I got to tell you, many of the people who failed to take action for years, finally they end up doing something when they're just disgusted enough. And I'll share a couple stories with you. Jim Rohn, motivational speaker, he tells a story of at one point in his life, he had left college, he got a job, he got married, had some children, but was just barely getting by. Couldn't really pay the bills on time, was always having to, pay the rent late and things like that. And he just did it. He just lived his life that way until one thing finally happened that made him change. And that was a Girl Scout came to the door, knocked on the door, selling those cookies. And she made an excellent presentation and simply asked him if he wanted to buy. And, he wanted the cookie. He was really impressed with her presentation. No problem there. But there was a problem in that he didn't have the $2 to buy the cookies. Now, rather than tell her that he didn't have $2, here a grown man living in the United States of America, not having $2 in his pocket, he told her a lie. He told her that, well, they already had bought, cookies and they had more than they needed and they hadn't really finished them. And she thanked him for his time and she went away. But when she left, he finally had hit bottom. He was so disgusted that he decided to do something with his life. Multi-millionaire, very, very successful. You can find his tapes and CDs and DVDs and live lectures all over the place. And he's up in age and he's still, keeping up all those activities. I'll share this with you. One of my students went through something similar. Was just kind of getting by, didn't really have dollar bills in his pocket, and he was hungry. He went through this change jar, actually grabbed the change jar and went out to get some food. I went to, I think it was Taco Bell, wanted to get a couple burritos, got up to the drive-through window, and all he had to pay with were these nickels and pennies. He had already fished the quarters and most of the dimes out of there and had to count it out. And he was just apologizing to the person, but he was hungry. And that was when he realized that he was just disgusted enough to do something about it. I can tell you that now he earns well over $200,000 a year, been very, very successful in the business here. I'll share with you another story. Richard Bandler, I was reading his book, recent book called Get the Life You Want. And, it was kind of interesting because Richard Bandler went out and he studied people who were able to simply cure their own phobias. In other words, they had a fear of height, they had a fear of flying, whatever the case may be. They never went to see a therapist. They simply got over it. And he interviewed them. He wanted to find out what it was that made them finally get over it. And the bottom line is that they were finally disgusted enough to make the change. No, I'm not saying everybody can do that and get rid of a fear of flying, but these people, the ones who were able to, in essence, cure themselves, that's what it was. They all had the same thing in common. They had just had enough of it. Now, some say that things have to get worse for them to get better. But my question for you is, are you disgusted enough to break out of the old ways of doing things and live the life that you deserve? I believe that everyone can live up to their potential. It is within everyone's grasp to have riches. The only difference is that most people will not make the move. They won't change those old patterns. Now, I invite you to go up to my website at morevacationsAmerica.com to get more information about my business and also about me. Again, my name is Dean Marino. I invite you to personally speak with me before making any kind of a move in the entire home-based business arena. Again, my name is Dean Marino, and I'm here to help.